The memory of the hospital's walls remains sharp, their color a pale sage that brought to mind the softness of faded mint leaves. It wasn't vibrant, but it wasn't soothing either. Oddly enough, that color lingers in my mind. Perhaps it's because it feels less painful than recalling the expression on her face when everything we had crumbled. Those walls, painted in a hue meant to calm, only amplified the tension. They mocked the idea of peace in a place where truths unraveled. Hospitals, with their sterile environments and promises of healing, are laced with subtle lies. And on that day, every one of those lies was exposed. It should have been a moment of pure joy, the realization of a dream fulfilled. My wife, Emily, had just brought our son into the world. Our son. That's what I clung to, what I needed to believe. Her hair clung to her sweaty forehead, her body exhausted from labor. Yet in her eyes was a sharp intensity as she grabbed the birth certificate from the nurse's hand. "His name will be Nathan," she declared, scribbling across the paper with precision. "Nathan Elise Carter." Elise, her mother's name, not mine. There wasn't even a hint of my family in his name, not even in the middle name. I took a step closer, my voice soft but firm. "Emily, we talked about this. We agreed his middle name would be Thomas, after my grandfather." She didn't look up, her grip tightening on the pen as she continued to write. "I've decided otherwise," she responded, her tone sharp. My chest tightened. "This isn't right, Emily. We're supposed to make decisions together." Her head snapped towards me, exhaustion etched across her face, but there was something else now, a defiance. "Partners," she sneered, her laughter brittle and cold. "You're lucky I even let you stay in the room." A wave of nausea hit me, a sickening twist in my stomach. The nurse, standing by the door, shifted nervously, her gaze flickering from me to the floor. Then, almost in a whisper, she asked, "Should I tell her what we found?" A chill swept over me. "What we found?" I repeated, barely able to make a sound. Emily's brow furrowed, her grip on the pen faltering. "What did you say?" she demanded. The nurse stood a little straighter, her professional demeanor cracking slightly. "Mr. Carter, could you step outside with me for a moment?" she asked. Emily's voice cut through the air, sharp and commanding. "No. Whatever it is, say it here. Don't play games." The nurse hesitated, her lips tight, and in that moment, I felt it, a weight heavier than any argument about a name. She exhaled slowly, her voice steady but gentle. "Your son's blood type doesn't match your husband's." The world stopped. Somewhere beyond the room, a monitor beeped faintly. Conversations hummed in the corridor. But inside the pale room, time stood still. Emily's face drained of color, her breath catching in her chest. The nurse continued, her tone calm but firm. "We ran routine blood tests on your newborn, including blood typing. Mr. Carter's blood type is B positive. Your son's is a negative." Emily's hand trembled as she clutched the birth certificate, her lips parting in disbelief. That can't be right," she stammered. The nurse's expression softened, but her words were final. "It's only possible if Mr. Carter isn't the biological father." The air became thick, suffocating. Emily's fingers curled around the pen so tightly that her knuckles whitened. I stood frozen, my heart racing in my chest, my throat dry. She turned to me, her eyes wide, desperate. "Daniel," she whispered, her voice a soft plea. I took a step back, the ground beneath me unsteady. "Don't," I muttered, my voice hollow. Tears welled in her eyes, spilling down her cheeks. "It's not what it seems," she said, her voice cracking. A bitter laugh escaped me. "Not what it seems, Emily? Are you seriously going to pretend this is some mistake?" She shook her head, her movements frantic, but no words came. And then, as if a dam had broken, her shoulders slumped, her face crumpling. She knew. The truth was out, and there was no taking it back. The room felt too bright. The sterile scent was overwhelming. I wanted to run, to escape the suffocating reality, but my legs wouldn't move. When I spoke, my voice was barely a whisper.
Who is he?
Emily squeezed her eyes shut, tears streaming down her face. When she opened them, all the fight had drained from her. It was a mistake, she whispered, her voice barely audible. A mistake like losing a key, like forgetting an appointment. I took a slow breath, the taste of betrayal sour in my mouth.
How long? I asked.
She looked away, her voice barely a breath.
9 months.
I nodded, the numbers searing into my brain. 9 months before we even knew she was pregnant. So before we started planning for him, I said flatly. Tears flowed freely from her eyes now, her voice trembling as she whispered, "It didn't mean anything." I swallowed hard, the lump in my throat choking me.
It meant everything to me.
Silence enveloped us, thick and suffocating. The nurse cleared her throat, clearly uncomfortable with the tension. "I'll give you both some space," she said, slipping out the door. Emily reached out for my hand, her fingers brushing mine, but I jerked away.
"Daniel, please," she begged, her voice breaking.
I shook my head, my body filled with an explosive mix of anger and sorrow. "You knew, didn't you? Deep down, you knew. That's why you wouldn't give him my name." A raw sob tore from her throat. "I was terrified," she whispered. I ran a hand through my hair, my chest tight with the weight of it all.
"You should have told me."
"I couldn't," she breathed, barely audible. I stared at her, the woman I'd vowed to love, the woman I thought I knew better than anyone. And then I did the unthinkable. I turned away. Her voice cracked as she called my name, but I kept walking, stepping into the hallway where the nurse stood, her eyes full of silent understanding. I wasn't ready to face the aftermath. The legal battles, the paternity tests, the brutal realization that the boy in that room, the boy I'd been prepared to raise as my own, wasn't mine. But one truth anchored me. I deserved better. This time, I wouldn't let her take that choice away from me. I left the hospital that day, the pale walls fading behind me, along with the birth certificate and the life I had believed was mine. For the first time in months, I took a deep breath, the weight of deception lifting, if only slightly, as I stepped into an uncertain future.